lawmakers to follow your example. Yeah. So I would like to invite to the floor Dr. João Costa, and I would like to kindly remind you that please keep in your mind 5 minutes frame. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start by thanking the European Association for this invitation on behalf of the whole Portuguese delegation here. So, Rabbi Marcolini, thank you very much for having us here. It's a great honor to be part of this global movement to keep memory alive and to make sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes. It's very good that our delegation is composed of 2 members of the parliament, 1 secretary of state, and we come from different parties. They are our opposition there, but here we are united. And this is, we take pride in saying that our parliament is very united, and it's still one of the few in which extreme right has not entered. We must be vigilant, we must be aware, because we are very much aware that we are not immune. And this is the first message I'd like to pass is, although Portugal does not have a big problem with anti-Semitism, it's not a real issue in Portugal. We had it 500 years ago, and we still have some marks of it in our language. In some regions of the country, you heard I'm a linguist, so I have to say this. In some regions of the country, if you are telling a child not to be naughty, you tell him don't be a Jewish, or don't do Jewish things, judiaria. And this shows how some marks of something that happened a long time ago can last in our culture, in our memory, even in our language. It's a bit embarrassing to be part of a panel in which we have to bring solutions. I'm not going to bring any solutions, but I'm going to give you some examples of what we are doing in Portugal for a long time across different governments, different political parties in power to keep the memory of Holocaust alive. And our starting point is that we have to stand for the inalienability of peace, the inalienability of human rights, because it's about human rights that we are talking about. There's no but when we talk about human rights. And as I said, we are not immune. At the end of last millennium, we had one of these, forgive the expression, very bizarre and stupid TV shows in which people are asked to vote for the personality of the century. And the final vote was between Aristides Sousa Mendes and Salazar, the fascist dictator. Guess who won? The dictator. And this was, for some of us, a wake-up call that there's room for improvement, and most of all, as I said, we are not immune. We all say, and we heard several times today, that education is a key. And being Secretary of State for Education, I cannot do anything but repeat, yes, education, education, education. But we have to know what we are doing and what we want to do when we're talking about education. And I will try in my five minutes to make 7 telegraphic points about the role of education. The first thing is the purpose of it. Why do we educate children? And memory is a word that can be associated with education in 2 very different ways. One very common meaning of memory is to know things by heart and then forget them after 2 or 3 days. The other meaning of memory is to make sure that we do not have disposable knowledge, but we have the knowledge to be active citizens and keep aware of what happened in the past, what is happening in the present, and how we can participate in a better future, as was said before. For this reason, in Portugal, we designed a student profile by the end of compulsory schooling, which is not composed of subjects, but it's composed of a set of principles, areas of competence, attitudes, and values. And these values include inclusion, belongingness, active citizenship, common well-being, interpersonal relationship. So what we're asking our schools to do is to work for this. And this, my second point is this is about the curriculum. This is about not only teaching mathematics and history and geography without linking the geographic knowledge, the historical knowledge, the mathematical knowledge, the sciences with these principles of promoting the creation of a better world. So we also introduced in the curriculum an area for citizenship, and some topics are compulsory: human rights, interculturality, multiculturalism, education for peace and development. When we do this, we are trying to show students that diversity is not a problem. Diversity is an asset in our schools and in our societies. We also, thank you. We also, with our network of school libraries, we have some schools participating in a March of the Living every year, and some of them very active. And in our recommended lists of books, we always have, for all cycles, books related to the Holocaust. This is very important, because for some children, this is the first entrance to the facts. We recently created a new elective subject for high school. It's called History, Culture, and Democracy. One of the modules of this course is painful past, and teachers are asked to select one moment of history in which suffering was critical, in which suffering was more present than any kind of glorious moment. The goal of this subject is to promote critical thinking, knowledge as a weapon against fake news, against fear, and against ignorance. As was said before many times, ignorance is always the fuel for fear, and fear is the fuel for hate. Fourth aspect, we are working a lot on inclusion, and by inclusion we mean empathy, developing empathy, and this relates to an interpersonal relationship. Put yourself in the other's feet. For instance, with refugees, we had an activity for all school children saying, what if it was you? What would you take in your backpack? So we invited all children in the country to grab what they would take if they had to flee their homes. And this was very important for some children. They reported it was the first time they really understood what was going on. We are also committed with fighting all forms of violence in school. We have, for many years, campaigns anti-bullying, anti-any type of segregation, and we are building more and more in allocating resources to develop social and emotional skills in schools, because this is the best way to link what you learn in your subjects with what you do with this. 6, arts, the role of arts and the role of participation. Artistic education is not a detail. It's many times the tool for promoting knowledge of peace, to open the possibility for students to express emotions. And we develop a tool which we call Student Voice to let students speak, participate, and debate. Finally, last point, coherence. Education is a key, but it's not enough. We need social policies, we need migrant policies, we need foreign affairs policies that show the students that these nice things that we try to teach them in school are coherent with what the rest of our governments is doing. We know that inequality generates the search for scapegoats. And yes, we don't have strong anti-Semitism in Portugal, but we have anti-black people, anti-Muslims, we have anti-gypsies, we have anti-sexual minorities, and this is always about anti-humanity. And as was said before, Auschwitz is the gate where people become numbers, and it's really the gate of dehumanization. And when we dehumanize the others, we dehumanize ourselves. And the role of the school, the purpose of school, is to create human beings and not numbers. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Costa, thank you very much. It was Jewish 5 minutes, means 10, but thank you very much, all words were true. So last but not least, I invite to the floor Mr. Aharon Tamir, the Deputy Chairman and General Director of March of Lenin. Aharon?
First of all, let me promise that my speech will not be longer than 30 minutes. No, I'll try to keep the timetable. I have to thank the organizers. We are participating in many, many events like this, and it's fascinating. It's really important and more than important. We are running the March of the Living that I know that many of you know, and let me give a compliment to Hungary. In Hungary, there is an entity called March of the Living Hungary, that the participants of this entity are coming to the march in Poland every year in numbers of 300, 400, and every Holocaust Memorial Day in Hungary, we have a Budapest March and commemoration. So this is a very good example to what we try to push into countries and to places and to organizations. In any case, we are bringing around between 10 to 15,000 people, youngsters, but not just youngsters, also some adults, survivors, of course, righteous among the nations, mainly Jews, but around 30% are not Jews. So a lot of non-Jews are participating. And the demand of those people is very high, very, very big. We believe that in order to make a change and to fight anti-Semitism and other hatreds and so, you have to give, first of all, tools. And we believe that the visit to Auschwitz or to other places that we organize with the children and with the instructors and with the teachers, that they will be able to be change agents and take with them the information, the knowledge, and to bring it to others. This is, let's say, the corridor to get into the main issue that is not just fighting. Fighting is a very nice word, and we fight, combat, and so. But I heard here, I guess I tried to count, but I couldn't follow up, about 100 times education. And it's correct, education is the key, the issue. But in order to have real education, we have to create and to do something that will be global, that will take the basic information that all of us agree on what was the Holocaust, what was the Shoah. In this case, we can educate the children that are coming to the visits in Auschwitz and in other places, and those that are not coming to mandatory to make sure that they will participate in a class, few hours, every period or year, whatever, to study and to learn it. And all of this is to be able to understand later on what is anti-Semitism, why should we fight and battle with this ugliness around the world. What we have in mind, of course, we didn't start deal with it, is to create like a league, like a federation, organization, I don't know the name even, that will concentrate just in studying and telling and working toward the anti-Semitism, and not other issues, not history, of course, whatever is related, but to be very specific and to have it in those all three countries. And it has to be with a curriculum that people will understand it, and from each country, a small delegation, a small committee, and with this we can spread the idea, we can spread the knowledge. Because as you know, America, the States, for us, for Jews, was a very safe place until a few years ago, very safe. Look what's going on out there. So we have to involve all countries that are aware of this terrible situation of anti-Semitism. So this is number one, to create a body that will be dedicated, and all the efforts will be toward, first of all, teaching the basic history so people are aware, and then to give tasks and to see, to have parades, to have marches, to come to a school, to do something active. Because, you know, we have a lot of symposiums, we have a lot of gatherings, and it's important, but that's not enough. That's really not enough. We have to do more. What I suggest that in each country we'll create a small committee of 3 people or 5 people that are around the education system or whatever, law, justice, and with them we'll try to put up, first of all, a basic understanding about this idea. We believe we have this year around 15,000 people coming to the march. And of course, I see your visit to Auschwitz as very, very important. We believe that those people that are coming to the march are going back other people. There's a big change in many of them. And of course, as I said, until now we had more than 400,000 participants physically that visit Auschwitz. And, but we are sure that the knowledge and the information was spread to many, many, I guess, million whatever, because each child comes, he goes back to his family, to his children, to his class, whatever. So this is the message, to establish something that will be global, and together, if we'll be, you know, united, maybe we can do something. Thank you very much.
Dear guest, thank you very much. Thank you, Aaron. So in this panel discussion, we try to introduce a wide range of actions has been done in different places. Madam Minister, thank you very much for these nice words and the description of action, what cooperated with Hungarian government, the Jewish communities has been achieved in Hungary. Dear our guests, thank you for your actions. We try and we drive all the partners, all the Jewish communities, and everybody in Europe that do and follow those actions. And of course, as I mentioned previously with Herzl words, if you will, it will not a fairy tale. Thank you very much. Thank you for your guest, from our guest, and thank you, retention as well.